Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the Elden Ring walkthrough. Today we'll be doing Mountaintops of the Giants, which on its own is actually not too big. As a region it sort of gets split in half, and the other half is consecrated snowfields, which we pretty much do right after this. But there's only one way to get there, so this is definitely its own place. So we're going to start here in the Forbidden Lands, which is pretty much just a narrow path over to the Grand Lift of Rold that Melina gave us a key for. And the only things down here really are two bosses, one of which is a Knight's Cavalry, and since there's a 50-50 chance you pass through here at night anyway, let's just set it to nighttime and deal with it now, because you'll probably see it on your way. Small chance you get poisoned here too, so maybe throw on some boluses, flame cleanse me, you know how it is. Now there are several vulgar militia along this path, as well as poison traps, hence why I said you might get poisoned. And most of them are either in the middle of the path or off to the left, so I like to just stick to the right over here. And then you get to this fallen pillar. Now from where we picked up the Golden Rune 7 there, basically directly across the path, looking straight north, there's going to be a giant skull and a tower. If we climb up here to get to that tower, get some Dragon Moon grease, and that's going to kill me. Nice. What a great start. That was pretty much all we needed to grab there anyway, though. From there, it's just a straight shot to the Knight's Cavalry, so... I will retrieve my winnings. Hop back on the main path. Now, we're kind of at the point in the game where everything just hits way too hard. So... Oh, it's not nighttime anymore. Fantastic. Yeah, we're at the point in the game where everything just does way too much damage, so if you're the kind of player that gets hit sometimes, I would probably stop doing that. Honestly, just cut it out. Stop getting hit by things, because they do too much damage. I mean, you saw there when I fell, I landed on soft snow. Snow's not supposed to hit that hard, and it one-shot me. There's our guy. Kind of a precarious location. Definitely could run off a cliff here pretty easily, so... Oh, there's no way. He killed Torrent, dude. I thought I just ran off the cliff. Torrent just started moving the second he spawned in. Don't get up. Unreal. My worst Knight's Cavalry performance to date. We lost Torrent. We missed the crit. That was embarrassing. We'll get the Ash of War Phantom Slash. And if you keep going east, gotta hop to this island, go right around the tree, because that bush right there on the left is loaded with poison traps. And from here on, I basically would recommend just staying on Torrent and running past everything. Eventually you're going to see a golden tree in the path. There it is up ahead. So grab the golden seed, and then immediately to the right of that, there will be another one of these giant skulls. Hop in the mouth. Do the Somber Smithing Stone 7. And then from here, make sure your health is topped off. A Black Blade Kindred fight is going to start at the top of this hill, whether you like it or not. Also, Millicent's summon sign should pop up. There it is. So, here's where that is. There's a Stake of Marika somewhere close by too. Where are you? I don't know. It's within a few feet of that. But just make a mental note of that. We're gonna run past him though, because there's a grace right here. So we can use this when we die. When, not if. You know how it is with the Black Blade Kindred. Now, just like the last one, just gonna flat out say this fight is super hard and it just drops its weapons, so you are more than welcome to come back here later if you're not interested in getting those weapons right now. It's right here though, so I'll just go over it while we're in the area. Now, if you give Millicent the Valkyrie's prosthesis, aka her other arm, she's actually available for quite a few fights in the game. 4, I believe. Most of them are a bit weird though. There's Magmamore Makar, which I guess to be fair, you get her summon sign there by giving her the unalloyed gold needle and sending her on her big journey. But I feel like you have to be doing things in kind of a strange order to have been through Central Caelid and have gone through a chunk of her and Gowry's questlines, but not have explored all of Liurnia yet to get to Makar. I don't know. There's a chance you did. Then there's the Godskin Apostle, which is definitely possible to see her, but again, I feel like there's a 50-50 chance you find that before you clear Shaded Castle and bring her back the Valkyrie's prosthesis. I kind of went out of my way to show you how to get her summon sign there in the walkthrough, but organically, who knows if you would have done it in that order. Then there's the Draconic Tree Sentinel, which is there to guard the entrance to Lanedale, so sure, it's more associated with that area, but it also just kind of is there in the outskirts of Altus Plateau. And the other areas of interest, Godskin Apostle and Shaded Castle, are also kind of on the far outskirts of Altus, and the only way she'll appear there is if you cleared Shaded Castle, gave her the Valkyrie's prosthesis, and defeated Godskin Apostle already before you fight it. Basically, all the prerequisites for summoning her are very likely to be met right around the same time or after you clear the area that you would actually summon her in. This is the last place you can summon her for a boss fight, and the only prerequisites it has are the exact same prerequisites as the Draconic Tree Sentinel fight, so you actually can probably use her for this one. Of course, then they make the summon sign like super hard to find, at least if you're coming from the Grace over here. It is, however, pretty close to the Stake of Marika, like I said, so if you're not risking a rune arc or an obscene amount of runes, you could just run out there, let the gargoyle kill you, and then respawn at the Stake of Marika and summon her stress-free. If you don't want to do that, it's totally fine. You can run past the boss from this direction and summon her without dying first. You'll just be looking around for a summon sign while the boss tries to kill you, which is a bit more complicated. You can also summon some Spirit Ashes, either from here or near Millicent's summon sign if you go that route. But again, if you summon them here and the boss aggroes to your spirit summon, you're giving it plenty of time to absolutely annihilate them, whereas if you summon Millicent and the Spirit Ashes together before the boss fight starts, you can go all three going together and he can't kill all of you, right? Very wrong, actually, but in theory it sounds nice. However, it absolutely can. So for the fight, it has a twin blade and an axe, and the moveset is basically exactly the same as the Valiant Gargoyle wielding the exact same weapons. The difference is that these ones have that life drain effect, which you'll know is coming when you get hit by anything that has a black and red glow. I wish I had a really solid strategy for this guy, but it's mostly a matter of not getting one-shot by its attacks while trying to hit it with the strongest attacks you have. And because of that, I obviously highly recommend summoning for that distraction. It's going to make just kind of having some breathing room a lot more realistic. Completely immune to all status effects, and the only damage type that does noticeably more damage is Strike. For Ashes, always a fan of Latenna for fights like these where she can just constantly damage the boss without running into melee range and getting obliterated. If not her, definitely go for something tanky. So, let's get to it. This thing's gonna fly in from right behind us, so once you hear something, turn around and keep an eye out. This one is easier than the one at Bestial Sanctum at least though, so we have that going for us. Well, I don't want to say easier actually, because it's kind of a matter of preference of what weapons and moveset you find easier to deal with, but this one does have quite a bit less health. It's already basically dead. Incredible stagger. Love that. See, the twin blade's a problem, but I can deal with the axe no problem. I feel like the axe is probably universally accepted to be one of the easier movesets to deal with out of these gargoyles, but... or the halberd, I guess I should say. But I'm just a big fan of it personally. So take him down and you'll get his twin blades and the gargoyle's black axe. Which I guess it is an axe, isn't it? Not a halberd. I don't know. Realistically, who cares? Let's run up to this lift here. And when you get the prompt, hoist to the medallion, cutscene's gonna play. And then turn right around, and behind here at the top of the lift, corpse with some beast blood. And there'll be some random plants and stuff for you to loot too if you want them. Otherwise, go north. And we'll just follow this path until we find a grace. Don't forget to grab the map on the way. Go ahead and rest up as well. I want my rune arc too. Need that back. So next to the grace, you'll find Yura's old body, now possessed by a demon called Shabriri. So exhaust his dialogue to learn about the Path of Frenzied Flame, which is one of the potential endings to the game if you choose to go that route. Now Shabriri doesn't really have his own questline, he pretty much only exists to give you directions to the Three Fingers and guide you to the Frenzied Flame ending, which involves us burning down the Erd Tree ourselves without the help of Melina. As far as rewards go, doing what he says and meeting with the Three Fingers will cause him to disappear, and the Ronin set, which he's wearing right now, will just be left in this exact location. You also get the opportunity to summon him for one of the final boss fights. That's pretty much it though. This is the only place we'll see him in physical form for the rest of the game, so I usually just kill him right here personally, and he'll just drop the Ronin set now, which I haven't gotten a fashion upgrade in a minute, so I'm just gonna go ahead and take that. Been working with these rags for far too long. Where is it? I am potentially blind. There you are. Nice. Beautiful. You got the full set? No, this is fine. Good enough for me. Anyway, the other person you can summon for that last fight is Nefeli if you complete her questline, so if you were concerned about not having any summons available if you kill him right here, there is still the opportunity to summon an NPC for that fight. Also, while I'm on the topic of the Frenzied Flame, you pursue that in the Lanedale sewers, just like Shabriri was explaining. I explained this a bit during the scene after Morgott where Melina shows up, but I'll remind you once again how I'm going to structure all this ending nonsense. So this route we're going through right now, through Mountaintops of the Giants, that Melina is really pushing us to go through, is to reach the other endings of the game. There are 6 endings, 5 of them involve Melina burning the Erd Tree. or at least she has to do that to progress to those endings. And the Frenzied Flame ending has us do it ourselves. If you want to do the Frenzied Flame ending, you have to inherit the Frenzied Flame underneath Lanedale before you get to the Flame of Ruin located at the end of Mountaintops of the Giants here. No matter which ending you're going for though, everyone can still benefit from the loot and quest lines and everything in this region. So I'm going to run through everything, just do the whole walkthrough for Mountaintops, and then at the very end, when all that's left to do is get the Flame of Ruin, I'll stop, and then I'll show you guys what to do for each ending, including jumping back over to Lanedale and showing the route to take for the Frenzied Flame. That's not going to be for a while though, because that sends us to Fair Missoula, like I've already explained, and that's a major point of no return in the story. While we can technically go to Fair Missoula and warp back out, do whatever we want until we actually kill the final boss there, for walkthrough purposes, I'm just not going to touch it until we've done everything else first. Now, as for these ruins up ahead, there are only a couple of things to grab, but I'd recommend sneaking around all the Zamor Knights in the area because they're kind of unnecessarily difficult to kill. You can actually do it by genuinely crouching and sneaking around, which is exciting since there are only like 3 opportunities for that in the entire game. But it's easiest to just climb up here and then hop down this hill in the back of the ruins instead. Pass by most of the struggle. So we'll drop down here. Go downstairs. Is this bird genuinely following me into the basement? I think he went away. Crack open the chest for the Smithing Stone Miner's Bell Bearing 3. Wait for that guy to have his back turned and then you can sneak straight across here. Get these more Ice Storm sorcery. There's another one on the right there. Keep sneaking. And then out here somewhere, I may have missed it. Where are you? There you are. Invigorating cured meats, and then up in this tree there's going to be a teardrop scarab that you can shoot down. I need to get some more arrows. Somber Smithing Stone 7. And now we just continue up the hill. Yeah, the loot in this area is like oddly sparse. It's like lots of corners and everything that you can explore, but not really anything there in most cases. Grab some smoldering butterflies. And then down here, we'll backstab this first enemy. And then just drop down this path to the right. And inside the Giant's Mountaintop catacombs. So this dungeon is kind of like the Ariza side tomb where we went through those transporter traps to go to identical looking versions of the rooms that we had already explored. Luckily there are no transporter traps in this one, so I feel like it's a little easier to keep your bearings, but it's still a little bit trippy. That was messy. Grab the Grave Gloveworts and then through here. Got a few more. Try to get this one to come over here because there's another one hanging on the ceiling. Alright, we're gonna be difficult today, are we? Unbelievable. Alright, down the hallway then. Take the elevator to the bottom. And then if you hop off and send the elevator back up, a second platform will actually come up from below. And we'll take this one down to the bottom. There's gonna be a few like magic burial watchdogs in this dungeon, and honestly I wouldn't recommend fighting any of them. They have a ton of health, like basically the same as fighting the boss versions of them, do an insane amount of damage. If you do want to kill them, you can use these frost pillars to cheese them. They're the same as the fire pillars that are in most dungeons, but frost breath instead of fire obviously would be the difference. I'm gonna throw Margit's Shackle back on here. So I will use Margit's Shackle, deactivate a pillar in the room nearby. Here, Brave Gloveworts. This is not ideal. You can come down here and get that, like, right when you get in the room, obviously, if you're not sitting there yapping. Watch out for this pressure plate to the side. Again, there are two of them. I forgot. My memory is not serving me well in this dungeon so far. Brave Gloveworts 8. You can use this trap to cheese them too if you really want to. Or yourself. Nice. So awesome. So yeah, this would be up and breathing that frost magic, obviously, if we hadn't used Margit's Shackle. And then off to the right here, there would be an illusory wall, but it's also dispelled from using Margit's Shackle. Just be careful if you hit it, because there's going to be this guy waiting for you on the other side. Ghost Glovewort, and then through here, I'm just going to run past him and grab this loot, honestly, because this is a dead end. Get the Fire Monk Ashes. There's no way, dude. All the money in my bank account, did not think he would keep breathing that frost and spinning. Did an entire 360. That's so insane. Anyway, once you grab those ashes, you can just backtrack to the elevator. And we will take this back up to the top. And if you need to, you could also send this back down and then ride the normal version back up to the top to rest at the Grace if you need to. Pull this guy back into the hallway away from the throwing pot ones. Take them all out, and then down this elevator with the chains. And then be careful in this next room, just kind of like take one step in and wait for the jar to come to you, otherwise he'll land on you. And then up the staircase over here. Watch out for the pressure plate at the top. And we got one of our favorite rooms, the guillotine room. So take out that jar, and then a couple of these guys are going to rush you. Just don't even play with the guillotines. Even if you think it's fine, the slightest little nudge from them blowing up can just send you into the guillotine, and it's... You don't want to go out like that, trust me. Alright, then this guy's just hanging out in here, but I don't like him, so he's dead. Now we run up here, and there's going to be a bunch of land squirts. Just run past them all. No need to trouble ourselves with this room. Arrow trap in the middle of this room as well. Gonna run in here, get the attention of this guy. Try to use the trap to kill him. If he's gonna keep backing off, I'll just go in there and handle him the old-fashioned way, but that worked out. Get a ritual pot and another grave gloveworts. And then over here you can loot this guy and then drop down. Corpse here with some butterflies, and then you can drop down again. And from here, if you don't feel like running all through the optional stuff, you can just go the route that the statue is facing. And what you can do is send the elevator up and then drop down into the hole below the elevator, and you'll get to the lever that unlocks the boss room. But when you drop down, you're going to be on like a plus-shaped platform. There's going to be like missing parts of the floor in each corner. And if you fall through any of those, you'll get sent back to the beginning. So if you go that route, just be very careful. I'll point it out again when we go that way. Otherwise, for the rest of the loot, go up this path over here. And get ready for some deja vu. So we got another guillotine room. Run through here, take out this giant jar. The Grave Glove War 8 being followed. Beautiful. And then up here we're going to run past all the land squirts again. At the top, watch out for the pressure plate again. Use it to kill that guy if you want. Another Grave Gloveworts, and then we'll drop down in that same place again. And you can drop all the way down. And one more time, and this is the room we were in before, so now we can take this elevator up to the next area. Or again, under the elevator if you've had enough. And there's some dormant imps in here. Last one's up there. I don't know if he's gonna hop down or not. But I'm just gonna run in here, grab the loot, and run out because I am not fighting that thing in a broom closet. Oh, now you jump down. That's tough, buddy. But yeah, then we'll just go back down this elevator. And we'll send it back up. I forgot we don't have to wait for this one. Yeah, just be very careful of this fight here. If you get bumped off, like I said, you're going back to the beginning of the dungeon. Not cool. So take him out. Golden Rune 10. Pull lever, unlocks the boss door. Bro, where did you come from? I'm trying to read my notes. Just got jumped by a couple of jars. We drop down and then go back up the stairs. Sorry, that's not true. Go the way that the statue is facing. And take the elevator up. Grace is going to be up to the right if you need it, otherwise boss time. And we're looking at another textbook ulcerated tree spirit fight, so make whatever preparations you need. Our grab attack right off rip. Someone's in a bad mood today. So kill him, he's gonna drop another golden seed for us, Glovewort Picker's Bell Bearing 2, and you can open this chest in the back of the room for a death root. And now we can warp over to Bestial Sanctum and just hand that in. Death root number 7. For the Beast Claw Great Hammer. And then warp back to Giant's Mountaintop Catacombs. And we will go outside and continue. So start clearing out these enemies, but avoid the fire prelate that's right at the base of the bridge and the ones closest to it. The fire prelate is a real problem. It seems like it has like virtually infinite poise usually when I fight it. It can be stance broken and crit, but actually interrupting any of its attacks are just not easy to do. That's manageable with like slow colossal wielding enemies, but not being able to interrupt someone with a 30-foot long whip is a pretty big issue. So we're just going to clear these guys out, and then whatever nuclear weapons you have in your arsenal, just go ahead and fire them at that thing and hope it dies before it has a chance to turn around. We're going to get these guys' attention, and since we're actually fighting them, it's going to make more noise than backstabbing, so lure them away from the boss. Just to make sure it doesn't turn around. Arteria leaves there. I forgot to grab this item for some reason. Briars of Punishment. Can't backstab it either, so... No survivors. Drop some armor for us, nice. Now we start making our way across here. And about halfway there's going to be a chair off to the side. Loot that for the Lost Ashes of War, at which point a golem archer is going to notice you. This guy hits extremely hard. Do not play around with him. There's going to be on that next cliff over there to the left, you can see, just around the corner. There's a few more items. It's like rainbow stones. There's a golden rune down there too. I would not even bother. I'm just going to go straight for the golem who just sniped me out of the air. Just whatever you gotta do to make sure that you survive crossing this bridge, do that. And if that means leaving the loot behind for a second, so be it. I hate when they do that so much. Golden Rune 13, and then I suppose we'll go back and grab that loot. Drawstring Holy Grease was the other thing, and only a Golden Rune 7, so yeah, not worth potentially dying over. Straight ahead, you'll see a teardrop scare. We're gonna rush him. Somber Smithing Stone 8, and then around the corner where he was running to, Trina's Lily, and some soft cotton, and then you can climb up these ruins here. Get the Ancient Snow Valley Ruins Grace, and Millicent is nearby as well. So you can talk to her, and she'll tell us that we can call upon her in battle again, and is heading to a fort nearby, but for some reason we can't summon her there. And also she is out of boss encounters that she can be summoned for after Blackblade Kindred, so that dialogue happening now is slightly strange. She does technically have a summoning thing later, but her wording here really feels like she's offering to help us with more bosses, especially the one at the fort up ahead, and that is just not the case. More importantly though, she does give you a hint for getting to the Halig Tree, but exhaust her dialogue, rest at the Grace, and she will move on. So hop on Torrent and go northeast to the Frozen River, and speaking of hints on getting to the Halig Tree, somewhere between the Grace we just found and the Frozen River ahead, you can hear Latenna's voice, but it usually doesn't work, and I'm not sure if it ever works anymore. Like right around here somewhere, she is supposed to start talking to you. If you remember, Latenna is the Albanarch woman we met back in Liurnia, whose spirit ashes we've been carrying around since then. And this dialogue is just super hit or miss. It's supposed to trigger along this path, but sometimes, most of the time, it just doesn't, which kind of sucks. It only happens once, and she speaks to you basically from inside your inventory. You don't press a button to trigger it, so you can't control when it happens. Luckily, it has no impact on the questline's completion. It's just kind of a shame that it's so easy to miss. She basically only says that Castle Sol, where the other half of the medallion is, lies just to the north, which is true for what it's worth. It'd be cooler if she told you, but you might have to settle for me. I looked into it, and apparently it's been bugged for quite a while, unfortunately. But just follow that river over here to where all the bats and everyone's fighting, and then hit that summon sign to invade Dialis' brother for the Volcano Manor Red Letter assassination. And if you don't attack him right away, ow. Down he goes. Get the usual rewards. And then return to your world for his armor set and another pedal whip to match the one we got from Dialis earlier. And then inside the shack, there's an item to loot. Traveling Maiden set. And then over here in this pile of dead golems, there's some stuff to grab as well. Warming Stone, some meat, and Smithing Stone 7. And then over here, Spirit Spring. Take that up here. And we'll start by going off to the right here to get to a merchant. So make sure you buy the Missionary's Cookbook 7. He's got some Stone Sword keys, some rune arcs if you want them, and then the Vagabond Knight set. If you didn't pick the Vagabond starting class and wanted to wear it, it is conveniently placed right here, all the way in Mountaintops of the Giants. Alright, and then once we get back up top here, got some ruins and some bats floating around here. Can't tell if he spotted me or not. Just play it safe. And then inside this kind of main building here is a jellyfish who's looking for her sister. If you just sit for a second, you can hear all the dialogue she has to say. But we actually have her sister with us. Summon the jellyfish ashes. Get a cool interaction.
You find me here. No time to waste. Let's see the stars.
Get the fancy spin gesture, and then the seal down here will break. Open the chest for the Primal Glintstone Blade Talisman, and then back up top. Over here in the corner, couple freezing grease. And then I don't know. Let's test something. Is there one more bat around here? I swear I got a pretty large golden rune there from those bats. I don't know if they just have a chance to drop it, and I just have never known about that, but didn't get it that time. But I thought there was one more bat too, so I'm not sure. Oh well. Real quick, if you run down here, You guys are strong. Cut from a different bat cloth. Couple of graves that you can examine if you're feeling, or if you feel like being sad. Now, if you check your map, you're gonna see two bridges kind of sticking out from these ruins. We're gonna go for the south one. So climb back up top. And if you've been doing the quest line, you will find Brother Corin and Goldmask over here. So you can talk to Corin and exhaust his dialogue by picking about the global or noble gold mask.
He can see. Oh, but I dread to even somehow tell me if only. Why would he?
And again. And then once he's talking, you'll get the option to give him the tonic of forgetfulness if you didn't give it to Raya back at Volcano Manor. Now I briefly mentioned this when I talked about the tonic back then, but I'll explain it one more time. Basically, if you try to give him the tonic, he will refuse, but the next time we find him, he'll act like he's forgotten everything still, which would make some sense given the state of denial he's in, that maybe he just decided to take it later to ease the pain. Except for the fact that the tonic stays in our inventory even if we try to give it to him, so he could not have taken it. I feel like that's probably more of like a UI bug or something, and we weren't supposed to hang on to it, but it is what it is. That's just how it works. And this is the second to last time we'll be meeting these two, and they'll both move to their final locations once we finish the main boss of Farum Azula. So let's talk about the end of their questline. Goldmask's next location is fixed. He will go to Lanedell Ashen Capital, back by the Colosseum, kind of where we found him last time. And then Corin, on the other hand, has two options based on what you do with this tonic. If you give it to him now, he'll stay here and again be in a forgetful state even though he rejects it, wondering where Goldmask went. And when you reload the area, you will find a flail, his robe, and his bell bearing right here, which does not bode well for old Corin. If you don't give him the tonic, he will also move to Ashen Capital, but not next to Goldmask. He'll be next to the Bolt of Grandsacks, basically driven to insanity and calling Goldmask a madman. So reload the area there, and then you'll get all the same items where he was sitting there that I just mentioned, the bell bearing, his flail, and his robes. Those are your options. Either way, Corin doesn't really get a happy ending, and you will get the same rewards from him. You just have to decide how he ends his relationship with Goldmask. The real reward, however, comes from Goldmask himself, who will give us the Mending Rune of Perfect Order at his final location, which of course unlocks one of the endings to the game. So you can just reload the area after you get it, and you will also find his armor set, which basically just consists of bracelets and underwear. Pretty sick, I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, whether you give him the tonic or not, I'm just gonna not do it this time, just because I feel like it, no reason. Grab the Somber Spinning Stone 9, and we're free to move on. Now, next, while we're on the topic of quest lines, I want to head back to Volcano Manor, but this is one of the very few places in the game where the Sites of Grace are actually kind of sparse, so let's just go get one to travel back to before we leave. There's a grace we can get by this bridge over here that you can see in the distance. I'm doing okay on flasks right now, so I'm just going to take out the Erdtree avatar on the way here and cross the bridge from there. If you're not in a good spot to fight it right now, you can just run past it and cross the bridge over here, or take the other route by crossing the bridge north of Stargazer's Ruins instead. But unless you're being really stingy with a rune arc that you don't want to lose, I would just try this fight either way while you're here, because there's a Stake of Marika literally right there ahead on the bridge. Now, as usual, this thing's going to be weak to fire and all that good stuff. So, before we ran over here, you could have taken an opportunity to craft some fire grease or fire pots, whatever you need. And about 75%-ish health, He can hit you with the good old Shadow Clone Jutsu, and he'll split into two. If you can stun him before he does that, that is ideal, but if not, now there are two of them. They share the same health bar, and if you want to just make it a 1v1 again, you can basically just run away until one of them leashes, and then fight whichever one isn't backing off. Or you can just kind of deal with it, because it should be somewhat low if you kept attacking it through its summoning animation. Either way, I still try to separate them a little bit at least. I was not paying attention to that. He's hit so hard at this point in the game. And persist after it dies, so you're not off the hook if you kill it while those swords are in the air. No way, dude. I swear I rolled. I don't think I hit the button hard enough. This controller's dying, dude. It's killing me. I complained in like a recent episode about how I try to like pick up items off the ground and they just don't work. What? Why didn't I get the Stake of America? I think I walked too far away from it, maybe. That sucks. We have to climb all the way back up there. That's so weird. Why didn't it work? Literally right there. Stake of America. No excuse. Anyway, if you go super hard with high stance damage attacks, like charged heavies or jumping attacks, usually you can get a stagger around the time it would try to summon its twin. Like right now it can probably do it, but we just lock it down here. Try to keep it staggered, keep wailing on it. And you should be able to get it really low by the time the clone actually comes out. But you do have to get that stagger to make that happen. So down they go. And we will cross this bridge with the broken Stake of America on it. Wait. I'm stupid. That's not a Stake of America, is it? It's a summoning pool. This is the worst walkthrough of all time. That was kind of a subtle flex though, actually, now that I think about it. Because now you know that I've seen that, and I've never died there. Because all this time I assumed it was a Stake of America. But, unfortunately, that is one loss to the Erdtree avatar there. My perfect streak is ruined. So, yeah, you can rest and talk to Melina. I'm gonna go ahead and level up.
For but a moment, share them with me.
I think it's time for more dexterity.
Your
Wait,
ambitions,
no. Let's take endurance to 30. And then you can warp over to Volcano Manor. And we will take on Rykard finally. Because we just finished up that last Volcano Manor assassination. So first talk to Tanith.
This is your
Get the Taker's cameo. And you have the option to go see the Lord. So this is your last chance to tie up any loose ends in Volcano Manor. If the Alice is still here, if Raya hasn't moved to her final location here yet, if you haven't finished any of the assassinations for Patches or Bernal, whatever you need to do, do it now. Otherwise, you can accept and see the Lord. Also, there's one thing I want to check. The Phantom's not back there. Yeah, I still don't know what triggers him to show up and when, but sometimes there's a Phantom back here, and he will talk about this upcoming boss fight. And I think if he's here now, he'll tell you that he left the Serpent Hunter weapon in the arena. But whenever you're ready, just click See the Lord.
Farewell, then.
Don't forget to activate the Grace. Run inside, and this is Serpent Hunter, which is a special weapon designed to kill the specific boss with its unique skill, just like the Storm Ruler for Yorm back in Dark Souls 3. If you want, you can also grab it, save and quit to exit the boss fight, and go upgrade it with Somber Smithing Stones back at Round Table Hold if you want to make the fight a little bit easier. By this point in the game, it's really not necessary, I don't think, but obviously Rykard is technically accessible much earlier in the game. It does reach A scaling with strength at +6, I believe, and we'll get the Somber Stone Miner's Bellbearing 3 pretty much immediately after we kill Rykard and go back to Mountaintops the Giant. So aside from the runes that you would spend upgrading and buying the Somber Smithing Stones, it doesn't really cost anything major to upgrade it to +6 just for the hell of it, since we'll be able to buy an infinite supply of Somber Stones 1 through 6 in a minute. Anyway, once you're ready, unless you're going to be a weirdo and try to fight it without Serpent Hunter, just take off your main weapon and throw Serpent Hunter on. It takes 0 anything to wield, anyone can use it. I completely forgot what kind of weapon it is though. There you are. It is down by the halberds. Also, the animation to pick it up makes me so mad. It's like the only time you actually see your character pick up a weapon instead of a glowing white orb, and then he just puts it away in his pocket instead of holding on to it to kill this boss. It bothers me more than it should. So until you actually approach the boss, you want to attack so you can mess around with the spear for a second. As long as you're in this boss arena, any attack you do with it will have a very long blade of light attached to the end, which gives you massive range. You have a 3-hit light attack combo, which looks like this. You have a 2-hit heavy combo, which looks like this. And as for the Ash of War, there's a very hard-hitting, long wind-up initial attack, which does a ton of stance damage, tends to stagger the boss, but you can't exactly spam it. The boss needs like a few seconds to recover before you can stagger it again. But you can chain that into an uppercut by hitting the Ash of War button the second time immediately after the first attack. Now for this first phase against the God-Devouring Serpent, there are really only a couple threats. It's pretty straightforward. Try to land as many special attacks as you can to keep it stun locked while avoiding its bite combo and its actual bite grab, both of which are pretty telegraphed. And don't stand in the poison or the lava if possible. He's got this slam that sends out some magma, and then sometimes he'll just kind of like bite the ground and then rip up a bunch of lava and stone and stuff too. There's the grab. There's the poison. If you can land that follow-up hit, it is ideal because it does a lot of damage. Hit myself with a cleanse real quick. Also, probably worth... There's that other one. Probably worth grabbing a couple of blue flasks for this fight if you don't usually carry them around. Because we're spamming an Ash of War so much. I didn't mean to waste a blue one. I might have just screwed myself. And that was too slow. This thing is like not hard, I feel like, and I always struggle fighting it. And it's because I skip it so often. Alright, dude. Now it's just disrespectful. I'm getting out of that corner. So we'll send you into phase 2 where things get a bit more complicated, but similar to my experience with that particular run, honestly, I feel like it's more of a camera issue. The main thing to note in the second fight is the Rancor skulls. First of all, there's just Rykard's Rancor where he spits out a flaming skull, leaves a trail of fire behind. The trail will start exploding from one end to the other, and you can just avoid it by staying away from the trail that it paints out. Next is Rancor Storm, which involves him raising his sword up and then calling down a rain of flaming skulls, which will home in on you and explode after reaching you or the ground. This attack lasts for quite a while, but just kind of sprinting away from it is pretty easy counter. The challenge comes from the fact that after he lets that attack fly, he can continue with his normal moveset while the skulls are chasing after you. So you have to keep an eye on him and the skulls and weave in some rolls when necessary. The best counter, though, is to stun him with the Serpent Hunter's Ash of War to interrupt the cast. If he does get Rancor Storm off, and it does last long enough that there's a pretty solid chance you kill him before it wears off. But if not, he'll finish it by raising his sword up again, charging up the blade, and then doing a very powerful chop straight down in front of him, which also creates a huge explosion and hurts quite a bit. It takes a second to charge up, so if he's pretty low, you can usually just kill him while he's charging it. If not, get as far to his side as possible to try to avoid it. I did not think that would reach me. I just hate the camera in this fight so much. Can never tell if I'm safe or not. You can see being a little bit patient, you can make sure that when you do the Ash of War, you actually do stun him. I hate how much it knocks him back too. It's really hard to get that follow-up crit. But unfortunately, I am out of FP. So here comes Rancor Storm. Skulls will start coming down. He's got a little combo here with the sword and the snake. I totally rolled through that. This is where things get dicey, because the skulls keep coming while we need to recover. And there's the big one. Honestly, I hate to say it, I don't want to admit defeat, and my laziness knows no bounds, but reinforcing Serpent Hunter might be the play. Might be worth doing. It kills me knowing that it takes 30 extra seconds to do that. But it might be worth the trouble. Down he goes. Probably the worst Rykard attempt on YouTube, but I'm okay with that. Get the Remembrance of the Blasphemous and Rykard's Great Rune. This random item you've seen in the arena the whole time is the Aesir coat. Touch the Grace once he's dead. And then we will warp back to Volcano Manor. and speak to Tanith once you get back.
It's true. No defeat is until then. I suggest I will miss the champion. I always. Perhaps.
Alright, and then even if you never saw that phantom at the end of the hallway, should get this gesture to spawn in at the end. Strangely enough. Get my thanks for that. I'm gonna throw on my normal weapon again. And then also go into the drawing room while you're over here. Speak to Bernal.
I harbor you, even he was, but any road we made, we hunted, and with every. Oh, I am the we refused. Oh, I am the we refused.
Alright, his dialogue's exhausted, and then we'll go see Patches again.
Crimes. Perhaps a time for now. The demi find me. Well, goodbye, my friend. What? Oh, come to make. Straight.
And finally, warp to Temple of Igle, and we'll wrap up Raya's questline. So you go out here, the north exit, can take a lift basically right to her. Take that guy out, and then you can hop over this railing here. And be careful when you speak to her, because you'll still be able to give her the tonic.
You boys.
So don't give it.
How come?
And now that Rykard is dead and we've spoken to her again, save and quit. And she will leave behind Zarias' letter and the Datakar's Woe talisman. Feel free to read that letter whenever you want. And then next, warp to Castellan's Hall over here in Shaded Castle. And you will find Patches on the bridge here, sitting next to one of these statues. And he's going to give us the Dancer's Castanets and ask that we take them to Tanith, which we will do. So let's warp back to Rykard's boss room, right here. Talk to Tanith, try to give her the Dancer's Castanets, which she will reject because she is on the grind right now. Respect it.
I wished one day.
And that is pretty much the end of her questline as of the time of making this video, but now that we know a lot about the DLC, I think that most of what I'm about to say is probably wrong. But for what it's worth, well, first of all, if you kill her, Tanith's Knight, the Crucible Knight that was always standing behind her back inside the manor, will invade you, and you can kill him for the aspect of the Crucible Breath incantation. And then after that, you can find Tanith's armor set right here. If you don't kill her, then this really is the end of it. And the general consensus from what I've seen online is that this probably... Well, sorry. At the time I was writing this guide, a long time ago, people were thinking that this meant that FromSoft was going to add an ending to her questline and Patches in the future, since... A, they're basically the only two NPCs in the game that you have to kill to get their items. Everyone else gives them to you at the end of their questline, even if it just is because they died at the end of their questline, but that's how you get the items belonging to just about every NPC. And B, Elden Ring has already had patches, as in like updates to the game, not patches the character, that added endings to previously unfinished questlines. Now, while both of those are solid points, and I could totally understand why people thought that, I have always kind of had a more cynical, but in my opinion, probably more likely theory. And instead of telling you, let me just show you. So let's warp to Murkwater Cave. Right here. And we'll make our way over to the boss room, which should be empty since we've cleared this a long time ago. But you'll find a boss fog. So if we go through that and open this chest over here, a very familiar sequence of events will play out. Patches is going to get angry. He's going to hop down. He's going to trigger a boss fight. But after like 10 seconds or so, he will recognize you and just surrender. You don't even have to hit him a single time.
Wait! Don't tell me! Is that you? Oh, Christ! Please, wait! I surrender! I surrender! I swear!
And after he surrenders and the fight finally stops itself here, should get the Patches crouch gesture and then exhaust his dialogue.
Age. I'd never cross you. Not even close. It's been ages. I didn't even realize. Took you for a dinner. You know how water under the... Hell, this bandit, especially if...
And then the next time you come back here, his store will be permanently unlocked and will stay in this location for the remainder of the playthrough. So, I don't know. I understood the whole this seems unfinished and will probably be addressed in the DLC thing that people were thinking way back when. But this is Patches we're talking about, and to me it definitely seems like he tried to just fake his own death at Shaded Castle so he could go right back to being a bandit. Because here we are. Was he genuinely concerned for Tanith and actually did want to give her the dancer's castanets? Maybe. Whether that was a sincere gesture or not doesn't really make a difference in my mind. The fact that he's back here in this bandit cave, unfazed, uninjured, back to his old schemes. Meanwhile, Tanith seemed genuinely confused at you trying to give her the dancer's castanets. Honestly, kind of makes me think it was just a diversion to sell us on his death. Again, I could be totally wrong, and maybe they will do something with this questline later. But to me, despite the odd ending, I feel like this is totally in character for Patches, and his questline seems finished. Tanith, on the other hand, I guess I don't know, but it sounds like they're not doing anything with pre-existing NPCs questline-wise in the DLC. It's supposed to be like totally separate, so we will see when it comes out this evening as of the time I'm recording this. But yeah, let's attack her, go through the Crucible Knight business.
Rykard.
Pretty standard Crucible Knight fight here, which you know, isn't a good thing, but the only thing he has new is instead of the Tail Whip incantation, he has this little mini fire breath thing, but we fought too many dragons for that to be intimidating. He does also have the Ordovis sword spin, I suppose, but even with that addition, nothing we haven't seen before. I hate fighting them without parrying. I should have put the shield on. Alright, down he goes, and we'll get that breath incantation, which he didn't even use. And the last thing for Rykard is to activate his Great Rune. So warp to Divine Tower of West Altus Gate over here, just below the Landell Moat, basically. And then this will finally open up for us. Oh, I just forgot. You can also go loot Tanith nearby for her armor set. Completely blanked on doing that. That's fine. I don't really need it, but make sure you don't forget that. You can just warp back to his boss, or Rykard's boss arena if we need to grab it though. I'm just trying to get this walkthrough done so I can see my family again. It's been months. Grab that Grace, head up top. And restore the power of the Great Rune. So this one is actually somewhat useful, but still a bit situational, honestly. Each enemy you kill restores 80 HP plus 7% of your total HP. So obviously it's going to shine in areas with more enemies that you can kill without losing too much health on the way. Still, with the flask refresh mechanic where you get some back after clearing packs of enemies, I feel like this is still usually not really a lifesaver. There's some health on kill things in the game that you can stack and really lean into that mechanic to make it worthwhile though if you wanted to. But situational, as I said. Anyway, back to Mountaintops. Let's warp over to Ancient Snow Valley Ruins. And then we'll mount up and run back to that frozen river. This time we will go right. And try not to get the attention of this golem unless you want to. We'll come over here to the right for a golden seed, which we do not need, but we'll keep grabbing them since they're in our way. And then if you don't have that guy's attention, then go wake up this one. And we want to lure him over here to break this statue for us. And if the golems are too much to handle or you're just not in the mood, you can ignore them after we crack this open. And that's probably what I'm going to do. And we'll just run up this ledge over here next to us. There's a Grace right up the hill. Oh, come back. There we go. 3 smithing stone 7s. Grab the freezing lake Grace. And then almost straight east from here, by the northern edge of the lake basically, there's going to be an invisible teardrop scarab. Maybe it's a little more over here. I think he wraps around these trees. I hear him. There you are. Gotcha. Get the Ash of War Seppuku. And then keep running southeast until you get like a blizzard rolling in, or a freezing fog, I suppose. And just keep going until you hear a roar. That's going to trigger the Borealis, the freezing fog encounter. So, of all the dragons in the game, this one is most similar to Decaying Exykes, which, let's be honest, is the one you were least hoping for me to say. But luckily it doesn't have the same like absolutely massive nuclear cloud of Scarlet Rot, but its breath does build up frostbite status, and the stomps it does also leave behind a little damaging cloud that builds up frostbite as well. Luckily, he's not as big as Exyx. It's pretty much the same size as all the other dragons, so staying near its head is much more reasonable. If you wanted to bring along some Thawfrost boluses, you could, but honestly, the amount of damage he just does outright, plus the burst of damage you'll take for having Frostbite triggered on you is probably going to kill you if you don't have full health and a lot of health to begin with. But you saw that roar he just did. That's kind of his main attack. There's two versions of it. There's that one where he just lifts his head up straight and roars. There's a far more dangerous one where he roars like that, and then he follows it up with roaring forward. And that's going to send out like a wave of snow and ice, which is a much bigger problem. There it is, and we got Frostbite because I got stuck on his wing. And the double roar should have like a minute long cooldown also, since that's like his special ability. So we're good for a second here. Can be bold. Still can do the regular one though. And there we go. So we get a Dragon Heart for that. New Draconic power available. Probably goes without saying, but that's going to be the upgraded version of the Dragon Ice incantation. And then we'll just run all the way down here. There's a cave right by here that's probably technically closer to the dragon fight, but I want like a... I think we all need like a 2-minute mental break before we immediately go deal with another stressful boss fight, so... we'll just run down here to this church instead. I said in like the last one, maybe the time before that, that we like maxed out our flasks, I think. And I meant in like the golden seed sense. Because we have a couple more sacred tears. I feel like I might have just said it was fully maxed out. I don't know what I was talking about, but... we're good on golden seeds and the number of flasks, but they can be stronger. And we're gonna sit down and do that right now. You can also talk to Melon again.
Shall I shed? In Marha, guidance, put the giant letter new brandish. Well, the flame of... I'm glad I must thank you. Please continue.
And upgrade our flask. And I'll level up again.
Let my share them with me. Your thought.
And then right nearby, if we climb up this ledge, grab some smithing stone 7s there. Alright, it hasn't been 2 minutes yet, so let's go get the map for this place too. Maybe it has been 2 minutes, I don't know, but I don't like not having the map. So we'll just run west up this hill, and eventually there should be a spirit spring to get up to the next level. Grab some golden runes here on the way. There we go, and up top. What? I've been cheated. What? There we go. Alright, we'll skip this Everjail for right now. We'll be back for it soon, but there is a Grace up ahead. Just keep running straight. And then this place looks really scary, but it's actually super easy to run through. Even if something does aggro to you, there are just so many walls to cover you. Honestly, while we're running through here, let's grab this. And at the base of this tree, golden rune. That way we don't have to come back for it later, because I think in the section for this fortress that we just ran past, I pretty much just wind up coming out there and grabbing those things and running away anyway, because that's all there is out there, and it's just not really worth starting a war over, in my opinion. We'll cross this giant chain, grab the next Grace, and of course the map fragments. And honestly, it's pretty much gonna hit this area last, since this is the way to the end of the region, but we can max out our flask right up ahead, so I guess we'll just do it while we're here. And then we'll just make our way up north again when we're ready to fight the fire giant. Now we're pretty much just heading straight southwest to the top of the hill, but I like to hug these cliffs on the left, because I'd rather piss off the small crawling hands over here than the crows that are on the main path. That's how you know you've created a real monster, when having these freakish little hands chasing after me is the better option. Look at that. That crow just took down a giant. Or a troll. I don't want to deal with that. But yeah, as you approach this church, you're gonna get kicked off torrent. You know what that means. We're getting invaded. So this guy wields the Rivers of Blood katana, which if you've done even 30 seconds of PvP in Elden Ring, you probably have seen before. And he also has a Wakizashi in his offhand, so he has that special dual-wielding moveset. Not just the normal katana slashes like I have right now. Tough luck, buddy. Imagine having Rivers of Blood and dying to bleed. Kind of embarrassing. We'll grab that Grace. Sacred Tear. And then rest to slot that in. And you should now have 14 flasks allocated however you see fit at plus 12. There are quite a few extra golden seeds in the game, as I've mentioned before. It's probably been a while, but very early in the walkthrough pointed that out. But you are capped at 14 flasks, so we are pretty much done. We're going to climb up here into the mouth of this giant skull, grab an ancient dragon smithing stone, and then hop down over here into the spirit spring. And then turn around and use it to get on top of the skull. Hit the Ash of War, Troll's Roar, and then warp back to Church of Repose, so you don't have to deal with the crows nearby. And then walk outside, and like straight ahead, you see on that cliff, there's like a giant ghostly teardrop scarab. So we're gonna go for that. It's a teleporting one, annoyingly, but this one is pretty big, so it's a bit harder to lose. think he goes down here first. Yeah, and then next he'll go over into that field over there, I believe. So try those locations if you lose him. Is Somber Smithing Stone 8. And then just a bit further east we got a Grace, which is the last Grace before the Fire Giant boss. So real easy. Just don't cross this ravine nearby. You can see it right here. You can go across either of these chains. There's another one down there. You can see it very easily on the map. This giant canyon ravine thing here. Just don't cross that. This whole area right here on this kind of like lonely plateau is the Fire Giant. So that's what we're avoiding right now. But if you run over here into this cave, a few crawling hands guarding a golden rune 10. I just ran past an Arteria leaf, that's fine, I don't need it. And then up here it's faint glow, gonna have another golden tree with a golden seed that we don't need, but that's fine. And then when you get close, you'll trigger these trolls over here to start throwing magic pots at some giant dogs, and us apparently. Shouldn't bother you, but he just doesn't like me. And if you come over here, it's one of these half bowl things you can get a starlight shard from, but on the way a giant hand is going to drop down. Now, each one of these giant hands in this region, the first time you kill them, you get a guaranteed Somber Smithing Stone 7. So this is a pretty good place to farm those up if you want to. I'm not a fan of fighting those things, so I'm not going to, but there are quite a few in this area, so nice place to stock up. Actually, I think we can buy them now if I'm not mistaken. I have not turned in a bell bearing in quite some time, but I think we can buy them now. We're gonna make our way down here. Just keep moving because the trolls are going to keep throwing those pots, and then the biggest crawling hand you've ever seen is going to pop up over here. I want nothing to do with that personally, so I'm just going to keep running. And we'll go down this hill. There should be a little gap in the rocks down here that we can slip through. Now there's going to be a ton of crawling hands along this cliff, including some ready to ambush you like the second that you walk through this gap here. So you could craft up some fire pots if you want. They like to group up and rush you, so you can get a ton of value out of fire pots, but I just couldn't help but notice I can kill them in one swing, so I think I'll be okay. The ones up top are making me nervous. How did that miss? Oof. I hate when they do that. Get a couple Somber Smithing Stone 7s from them. That's just luck. You can also just get them to drop from any of the hands if you're lucky, but the big one's still... There's another big one up here I guess I could probably demonstrate. Have the Crimson World Bubble Tier. I'll talk about that in a second. That's going to trigger this guy to run over. So, there you go. Somber Smithing Stone 7 from that guy as promised. Now, the description on this thing is a little misleading. Converts damage received into HP in a mixed physic, which kind of implies, I think, that it would heal you for whatever amount of damage you would have taken, and that's not actually the case. Its other weakness is that it doesn't do anything about physical damage, but it works on literally any other type of damage. So it's still insanely powerful. What it does is anytime you get hit by a non-physical source of damage, it will restore 5% of your max HP and last for 15 seconds. So if you were going against a pure spellcaster, for example, you could literally just eat anything they throw at you for 15 entire seconds. And not only will it not hurt you, it will literally heal you on every hit. So against a non-physical opponent, this thing makes you virtually invincible for 15 seconds. Extremely fun, and even though it's kind of a niche use sort of thing. Also worth mentioning, it does not work on any self-inflicted non-physical damage, so you can't just drink it and then hurt yourself to try to get a free heal, which kind of sucks in my opinion, but that's fine. Warp back to... oh, this one right next to us, Giant's Grave Post. And we will go west down the hill over here. There's some immunizing cured meat around here somewhere, but I do not remember exactly where. And it's gonna have a white glow in the middle of a white field of snow. And there are lots of hands around here, so I don't really want to go looking for it. Well, maybe that's it. It is, let's go. Alright, we found it. Everything is fine. Now this corpse ahead is Drawstring Holy Grease. I'm definitely not grabbing that because it's a giant hand ambush, as you can see. And if you think you're slick, you're going to try to grab it without waking up the one underground. Another one jumps out from behind, even if you try that. So that's just not worth it for Drawstring Holy Grease. Nobody has ever even once used that item, let's be honest. That guy's going to crawl out of that gap there. It's terrifying. No one likes that he does that, but he does it anyway. But into the building we go, and down the elevator, and this looks a whole lot like a hero's grave, which means we're about to have a bad time. Touch the grease, unlock this door with a stone sword key, or... nope, just one. The flame protects me incantation. Let me double check, make sure the recording's still going. Looks good. Alright, so from the grace, into the dungeon we go. Got a fire monk patrolling here. And then once he's dead, they can drop their armor like you just saw there, so if you want it, you can farm it. And then we'll use Margit's Shackle here to dispel this illusory wall that was behind us and shut down a fire-breathing pillar that was a bit further into the dungeon. And up in a window somewhere here, got a golden rune 11. And then we'll go down to the last window and hop down. Sneak around a bit. Some shadow imps that we don't want to upset. Well, so much for that. Alright, so when you turn down this next hallway, it looks like the pillar's still active, but it has 2 levels of imp statues on it, so if you use the shackle and haven't been blasted by fire already, you are safe. As you approach it, there's going to be a fire monk over here just beating his chest for no reason at all. These guys, like I said, can drop their armor, but this one in particular has a really cool looking sword, and he can drop that. It's not guaranteed, but if you want it, you can farm him. Oh, gotcha. Alright, then go up the stairs in here. It's gonna be another fire monk Coming down these stairs. I can't remember exactly what route he walks. You might be able to get a backstab. It can be done. Go up here, freezing grease, use a stone sword key. Now there's supposed to be a glowing seal on the floor in this room, but it got turned off when we used the, or when we lowered the fire pillar, so just use the shackle again to turn it back on. And then step a couple feet inside. Sorry, not this room, the next one. There'll be some shadow imps. Why do you betray me? Alright, once they're dead, grab the Grave Glovewort 8 and loot the Cranial Vessel Candle Stand Great Hammer. The Great Hammer part at the end is just me telling you what you actually picked up just now, but I mostly said it because it makes the full name even more absurdly long. Cranial Vessel Candle Stand Great Hammer. It's like 5 completely random words that are almost never used together all in one name. So we'll turn around and then take this lift down here. I will miss you, Purple Flower. I'll come back for you. Not really. Alright, and then if you... Yeah, we need to activate a seal in here too. So we send this back up. Should activate the spotlight. And another elevator will come up too. There we go. And jumping in this little room here will get us down to the lower section of this dungeon, which is all optional, but we'll do that in a minute. So for now, use the lever in this room to open this gate. And we're going to lure this troll back to this seal. Bro, how are you not in the seal? There we go. Alright, and then once he dies, that's going to unlock the boss door, which just so happens to be right behind where the troll was sitting. Now below this bridge leading up to it, there's a fire prelate walking around. If you, well, he's not walking around yet, but if you shoot him with an arrow, he will. If you hop up here carefully, you can shoot him with like a, you can do the serpent bow with some serpent bone arrows, I believe they're called. That would make sense, I think. Just serpent arrows. And that should proc poison on him pretty quickly. And you'll probably have to do it a few cycles because these guys have so much health, but much less of a headache to kill it that way if you don't want to be in trouble later. We'll come back to him in a second though. I grab this Ghost Glovewort 9, and if you're low on flasks right now, the boss is an ancient hero of Zamor, which we fought a few times by now, so you should know whether you struggle with them or not. Be able to make an informed decision about how many flasks you're going to need for this one. Super weak to fire and lightning, and if you have enough FP left to summon something to keep it distracted, shouldn't be too bad. If you don't have any FP left, you could always use a Starlight Shard in a pinch, but I would recommend making sure that you bought all the puppets and stuff you want from Celavis first, since these are a limited resource. But, you know, we're at the end of the game, end of a dungeon, sticky situation. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Slippery. Going into phase 2. Absolutely annihilated. Alright, so you kill him for the Zamor curved sword and their armor set, which is pretty cool, I think. And before you teleport out of the dungeon, here's the deal with the basement section. There are 3 enemies down there. All of them are pretty awful. There's a burial watchdog, there's a second burial watchdog, and there's the fire prelate. If you did the bow thing I just recommended, the prelate is dead, hopefully, and you only have the watchdogs to worry about. There are also a couple ways down there. As you may have noticed, the jump down here to the prelate is survivable. That's kind of a worrying way to phrase it. It doesn't hurt you at all, I don't think. 0 damage if you jump down here. There's also the elevator from earlier that I pointed out that you can call back down and jump into that little room to ride it down. Whichever way you go, you will want to send the elevator down regardless, because it will shine a seal that you'll need to make the burial watchdogs vulnerable to damage. So I suppose I'll go do that. Because they both start in shadow form. Don't take me. Wait. Oh, this is how you do it. You don't stand in there. You could jump in if you wanted to ride it down. There we go. I was losing my mind there for a second. The prelate is guarding a great grave glovewort and the giant seal. And then the watchdogs are guarding a grave glovewort 9 and a grave glovewort 8, as well as a ladder that leads to another 7 and 8. You can definitely run past them all, but being as it was late in the dungeon and you just fought a boss, maybe you can't take any more hits, which is why I like to drop the prelate early on to kind of mitigate the risk a little bit. Here's what I would do, and what I'm going to do. Whether the prelate is dead or not, we're just going to jump down here, and he likes to put on a little look how much fire I can make with my stupid volcano head show as soon as he sees you. Usually? Oh, he's just going right in for the hammer. Aggressive today. Yeah, usually he goes full Krakatoa. Anyways, there's 2 exits out of here. One of them you can drop down, the other one's just a ladder that'll take you to right there, so it doesn't matter which one you pick. Grave Glovewort 9. Ow. The Great Grave Glovewort and the Giant Seal that we just got in there, definitely the 2 most important items here. Everything else can technically be bought from Twin Maiden Husks by the end of the game, but those items cannot. Unless you're really unlucky, you should have plenty of time to climb to safety. There's no way the first watchdog can keep up with you if you're running, and the second one's usually mid-combo while you grab the Grave Glovewort behind it, so... yeah, that's all there is to this place, so let's warp out of here. And we will go to... Snow Valley Ruins Overlook, right here. And I'm going to rest, and we're going to put the Ash of War Hoarfrost Stomp on a random dagger. You probably won't need this, but it does make it a lot less stressful, and maybe you do need it, because I know not everyone can, you know, not everyone's vision is perfect, and everyone's playing on different screens, so might come in handy for visibility purposes here in a second, is what I'm getting at. And then we will run along this cliff to the northeast. Hop up here. And you'll see, make sure the skeletons aren't following. Yeah, we're good. As I approach the end of this bridge, I'm kind of floating a little bit. And there is an invisible bridge going all the way across to the tower over there. If you look really closely, you can see these like faint little floating clouds. But they are very faint. It's almost like breath fogging up a piece of glass. And you can't see the snowflakes. Usually it's snowing around here. It's not right now, but you can't see the snowflakes landing on the bridge either, which is kind of weird, and it would make this 10 times easier, but that's why we brought Hoarfrost Stomp. It can only go where there is actually ground to go on. It covers the area in front of us, but not so much if I point it off the side of the bridge. So, you can just keep doing this. If you can see the little clouds below us, that's fine. Otherwise, the bridge does go straight across all the way to the tower. But where it gets a little trickier is like, I don't know, 20-25 feet away from the end of the tower, probably around here. There's a little part that branches off to the left that we can go up. And this part has like a way more visible trail of clouds, but you can still use Hoarfrost Stomp if you can't see it. Now in here, as soon as you get to the top, it's going to say the seal on the rise is open, and you can see there's 2 avionettes in here. So make sure you put the dagger away, because these guys are going to go ballistic when you step inside. And if you get caught up in this, you're probably going to get hemorrhage procced on you, and it's going to do a ton of damage from them just hitting you a bunch, and you might basically just get one shot before we even know what happens. So just be careful of that. It's going to happen the second you get inside, and there's not really anything you can do about it except be ready. Go up here, there's going to be a marionette you want to be careful of. And then up here you get the Founding Reign of Stars legendary sorcery, which I think is our last one for the achievement. So hopefully you got that to pop, unless I'm completely making that up. I'll put the overlay on the screen in the video, of course, so we'll see if I'm right, but... once you grab that, we'll go down here. One more avionet. Not sure how we missed that attack. And then back outside, if you circle around the right side of the tower and drop down, you'll have to fight a couple marionettes, but there are a couple of Thawfrost boluses if you would like. I'm just going to leave them alone though. And then we will go to that Everjail that we skipped over earlier, which is pretty much straight to the southeast over here. Oh, you know what we should do actually? These balloons probably give you runes, huh? Golden Rune 12. There we go. I think that's all of them. Oh, there's another one over there. I like money. I'm gonna go get it. Unless I can't get up right here. But I can. Incredible. Free money. Nothing better. Alright, so this is going to be Round Table Vike. Aside from pretty basic attacks with his spear, he can use Lightning Strike and Fortizex's Lightning Spear. He also has a special attack where he kind of like summons wind around himself, jumps up and stabs the ground. It's like the same animation, I believe, as the Vikes War Spear Ash of War, because this is like the same Vike we fought back in Liurnia a long time ago, who was kind of all frenzy flamed out of his mind. And but just be careful of that, because that's like the one attack he has that you cannot interrupt by staggering him. And between the little wind he kicks up and the actual attack, you're probably going to get hit pretty hard. Now, despite using almost exclusively lightning attacks, he's pretty weak to lightning, and when he raises up his spear and wraps himself in red lightning, he lowers his lightning defense even more. So if you have a source of lightning damage, probably use it. And he's an NPC, so he can heal once if he wants to. Which he's going to want to after I'm done with him. I got greedy. Aw, all out of heals. Hurts just like I said it would. Oh, he caught me. Damn spears. No way, the wind was still there. We killed the dragon that gave him that ability, so not intimidated, unfortunately. You get Vike's Dragon Bolt Incantation and the Fingerprint Armor set. Another pretty cool set of armor, if I do say so myself. We're not going to talk about how I whipped out the dagger for one swing in that fight either. No one saw that. And then let's warp to White Ridge Road nearby. And most of these guys don't really aggro unless you get super close to them, so we might be able to just run in here and not have to deal with anyone. I think we're good. Maybe this one around the corner. Yeah, they usually notice us. We'll see if we get followed. If we do, no worries. But inside here, I'm paranoid. We're good. We're absolutely fine. Take out the Flame Guardian. And then also out here to the right, there's a dog. And over here to the left, I knew it. I knew you would come back. I told you guys, I had a feeling. Golden Rune 10. Up here we got some smoldering butterflies, and you can drop down this corner over here. There's going to be a rat. Probably won't follow you up the ladder since he is in fact a rat, but I just don't like him very much. And then we'll wrap all the way around to the end of this upper section here. Smithing Stone 7, and then if you backtrack just a little bit, there's a section of broken wall you can jump through. Make sure you jump across the gap there. And then around here and up the stairs, and then a mini boss is going to walk out of the far tower up ahead. What you want to do is quickly kill the 2 dogs in the tower to our close left that you can hear eating right now. You can also hold the beast repellent torch while you fight the boss if you're having a hard time killing the dogs before she gets to you. But you should be able to just run over here and handle that, because she won't start walking out of that tower until we run up here. She does deceptively high damage. She has 3 incantations from what I can tell. O-Flame, Burn O-Flame, and Surge O-Flame. Or in Dark Souls terms, Great Combustion, Firestorm, and whatever that flamethrower spell nobody uses is called. It's still weak, so who cares. The big thing to watch out for, though, is this shield. Unique skill on it, which will just blast you with a straight-up cannon and does a disgusting amount of damage. Oh, wow. Yeah. That's how it's gotta be. Alright, we'll try this again. Hopefully you've learned your lesson. That's what I thought. Think about what you did. Get the one-eyed shield, and then you can run up this tower. And search this chest for the Giant's Prayer Book. And then back down the tower. And drop down here, and then should be safe to drop down again. And right around here somewhere. Oh, there you are. Teardrop Scarab up in the tree. Get the Ash of War Prelate's Charge. And then lastly, if you didn't grab it earlier, the Stone Sword Key over here by the Fire Prelate down there. And this biggest tree thing right here also has a Golden Rune 8 at the base of it. Now, before we start the next area, we're looking at a 2-phase boss fight where you have to kill a Godskin Apostle and a Godskin Noble back to back. So make whatever preparations you need to as far as like sleep pots and sleep grease, but I'd also recommend leveling up the Dolores Sleeping Arrow Puppet Ashes however far you feel like. You can buy Ghost Glovewort 1 through 6 from the Twin Maiden Husks, so you can get her 2+6 without consuming anything valuable. If you do make a trip back to the Spirit Tuner, I would also consider upgrading the Finger Maiden Theralina Puppet Ashes for one of the next bosses. If you only want to upgrade one, Dolores is there to help keep Godskins asleep, and Theralina is for extra holy damage against a Deathrite bird. So you could also just do both, but if not, just decide whichever one sounds more useful to you. Or do neither, which is what I'm going to do, but for anyone that struggles with Deathrite birds or Godskin Apostles, Nobles, especially multiples of them, got some options to help yourself out. Warp to Freezing Lake whenever you're ready, and we will run southeast here, keeping these cliffs to the right. What did I run into a second ago? Like bounced off of something, I didn't see what it was. Maybe it was a jellyfish right above my head or something. Anyway, inside here, so there are 2 things to know about this cave. 1, it is very dark. 2, it's full of spirit caller snails that like to summon wolves to protect themselves. You can kill 2 birds with 1 stone and solve both of those problems. With the beast repellent torch, so I'm going to throw that on. Get light, and the wolves won't bother us. As soon as you get to the Stake of Marika... Wait, it's not a Stake of Marika, it's a summoning pool. I keep doing that. Stop. Because, yeah, this floor right here you can see pretty obviously, if I stop and stare at it, is going to break. So walk around the edge of that. If you do fall through it, it's not a big deal. You literally only have to kill one extra snail, but you will have to backtrack almost all the way back here to get the loot you missed, so it's just kind of annoying. But in here... Well, my torch didn't work at all. That was awkward. Does it not work? Am I just crazy? Either way, killing the snail still kills everything in the room, so... It's not the end of the world if I am crazy and this doesn't actually work on the Phantom Wolves, but I swear it did. Golden Rune 10, Rune Arc, Heroes Rune 1. We'll try in the next room and see what happens. So keep going until you get to this ledge above another glowing room. There's a snail down there. And he summons this guy. They're called Disciples of Okina. I think... Yeah, he can get us up here, so I guess I'll stop yapping and go kill the snail. Because that'll kill him too. The other tunnel to the left, I just jumped down. You can't see it anymore. This one up here leads to that room that you would fall into if the floor collapsed earlier, so this is where you would be. Grab the freezing grease there. And then there are a couple more snails in here, but same rule still applies. You kill them and everything else will die. Now it seems like it's working. Some of them seem to care and some of them don't. This thing's always been kind of inconsistent anyway. But if you just run through here and kill these snails, it's no problem, because, you know, if you can get the torch to work at all for you, and delay the wolves even a second, the Disciples of Okina are just gonna waste some time buffing themselves, and by the time that they're done with that, you have already killed their master and dispelled them. But run around, grab all that stuff. You get the white reed set too, white version of the starting samurai set. Looks pretty cool, I think. And we're ready for the boss. So, for the boss, like I said earlier, you can use Dolores the Sleeping Arrow to help sleep the bosses. You can also craft some sleep pots. You can also put Sleep Grace on your hotbar. You could give your Mimic Tear a weapon that can be greased and put it on your hotbar, and it'll use that as well, which is handy. It's another way to keep the Godskins asleep. I wish I could say that this is the last time I'll have to explain how to handle a dual Godskin fight, but that just isn't the world we live in, unfortunately. Now this fight is especially stupid in my opinion, because unlike the Spirit Caller snails outside and the other Spirit Caller snail boss fight in the game, you can't kill the snail to despawn the summons. In fact, the snail itself doesn't even spawn until you've killed both Godskins. So stupid. It's fine though. Enough ranting. Let's get started. That's not fair. I was in my menu. Oh, I hate you. No way. How is this happening to me again? Just getting right in your face and throwing it at the floor. Oh my god. And then I get stun locked. Oh yeah, take a nap, dude. You've earned it. I feel like I just got emoted on. Stings. For what it's worth, this room looks really cool. Oh, he didn't buff himself. You take. Oh, that's not a heal. No, I just lost like 300,000 runes. That sucks, dude. Oh, that sucks so much. As soon as I finish this this walkthrough rather, I'm gonna do another playthrough on my own where I just go through and like get revenge on all the bosses that only killed me because I was stuck explaining how to kill them to someone else. All the bosses only landed a hit on me because of that. The revenge arc is gonna go crazy. Hey, we got 15 runes back. Almost recoup all my losses. Nighttime, nighttime. I've been scammed. Can do this all day, buddy. All day. At least until that green bar runs out. Alright, well, I hope that went better for you. Probably not as stingy with sleep pots as I am. Enough trouble out of the spirit collar snail. You get the Black Flame Ritual Talisman and the Godskin Swaddling Cloth Talisman. And next we can go to Snow Valley Ruins Overlook again. And we will go northwest, actually. And if you look over the cliff somewhere, maybe a little farther down. Yes, Tibia Mariner. Will this kill me? I have nothing left to lose. We're good. So there's gonna be a ton of like, those giant phantom skeletons that we've seen once before in Wyndham Ruins around here, like up in the graveyard up above. But if you just come straight down here, it's pretty much just this guy and that snail. He doesn't have a boss health bar, strangely, but he does have a health bar. And that's all we need for him to die. And there he goes. You get Helfin Steeple, really cool looking sword, and another Death Roots. And then you can go down here and get ready to fight a Deathrite bird. If you're struggling on flasks, feel free to go back to the Grace and restock. Otherwise, it's literally just right over here. And it doesn't even have to be nighttime for this one. There's also like several golden runes scattered around the graveyard. I know. I just don't remember where they all are, and I don't want to try to find them. Last time I said something to that effect, I accidentally wandered upon one. That's a human bone shard. But yeah, there's just random crap scattered around here if you want it. It would take too much time for me to go around and try to find everything for you, so I'm not gonna bother. But here is the location of the Deathrite bird. So I'm going to make a full stack of holy water pots because this thing is a tank. It has a lot of health. Now, For the last few, I have recommended using Torrent, and that's what I've enjoyed using myself. But honestly, I have a hard time with it here. The terrain here is just... It's kind of a small area, and there's just lots of little things to get stuck on. But obviously, do whatever works best for you. I'm not saying Torrent doesn't work. It's just, I personally seem to have bad luck with it. I feel like just inspecting this place visually, it seems like there should be enough room for it, but I can just never get it to work. So I tend to fight this one on foot. Like I was saying earlier though, this would be a nice time to summon anything that has holy damage on it. Finger Maiden Theralina is probably your best option right now, unless you've somehow been to the Halig Tree already and have some other really nice summons that have a source of holy damage on them. But let's just get to it. This is gonna be a rough one. Alright, 0 for 1 so far. 0 for 2. See, it does almost 1100 damage. Barely hurts him. Even to the head. Oh, those are still coming. Alright. This is a bad video. Things are not going well for me in this one. Pro tip, if you're bad like me, you can come back to the Minor Erd Tree in Limgrave, and there are a ton of tarnished sunflowers around here that you can use to craft up some more holy pots, which, honestly, even if you're not bad, each attempt on this boss just takes so many of them. Since it has so much health, it's like, you know, you can spend 10 like I did and not kill it, and you're out 10 sunflowers. But just make a quick lap around here. This is where it is on the map, of course. And you should be back in business. And then if you're out of mushrooms to make any kind of pot, you can come here to Folly on the Lake down here in Liurnia. And outside this gazebo, there's this tree right here that has a couple on it, or near it. And if you go around the bend here, right underneath this big rock over here, 4 more locations. And then you can just run back here and rest at the Grace to reset them, and do that as many times as you need. If there's no crab in the way. Alright, now it is time for our get back. I hate you. I'm gonna use Torrent to dodge this time. I've learned from my mistake. I'm simply too slow on foot. I can't see anything. Oh my god, the camera, man. Watch out for the star pattern on the ground. Pick a better direction than I did. I'm gonna mount up Torrent, try to get some distance while that fire fades away. Just do so much damage. Maybe just finish up the fight on Torrent since it's getting low anyway. And down it goes. So yeah, that's a prime contender for coming back and doing it later, or just not doing it at all. That thing sucks, but 100% guide. That's what you were promised. Right after I skip all the golden runes in the graveyard. That's alright though. Can always make more money. You can't get back your dignity if you skip a Deathrite bird. Now then, let's go. I think that's pretty much... Well, let's go back to Bestial Sanctum. No, while we're here, that would be stupid. While we're in the area, let's just go down here and get the Grace at Castle Sol first. Rest up and then warp to Bestial Sanctum, and we'll give Garonk this death root. And I'll guess the Garonk's Beast Claw incantation. That leaves us with only one more death root to turn in, which will reward us with an Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone. Technically speaking, the Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone isn't really a unique reward, because if you were to kill Garonk at any point in the game, he would drop it. It's not a different stone that he drops, because you can't get it from turning in the 9th and final death root and then kill him for a second one. It's the same stone. We've come this far, so I'm personally not going to bother trying to kill him for that last reward early, but Garonk's Beast Claw is basically the last unique reward that you can only get through turning in death root. So, you could kill him now to get the Smithing Stone a bit earlier if you really wanted to. Since next time will be goodbye, this is also a good time if you want to try to see his other unique interaction if you've never seen it happen. I don't know that there's a way that you can force him to move, but sometimes when you come to Bestial Sanctum, Garonk is missing and you can find him outside on this northeast side. Right outside the building, just howling on the cliff. Every time I've seen it personally, it's happened at night while raining outside. I don't know if it has to be that way, but I've tried passing the time tonight, reloading the game, warping to different areas, and coming back, and I can't seem to force him to go out there. You're welcome to try, but it might just come down to getting lucky. But with that, let's make our way back to Castle Sol and finish up Mountaintops of the Giants. Okay, so inside, we're heading through the wooden barricades immediately to the left, right over here. So if you don't like fighting Lion Guardians, you can sneak over there while he's not looking. If you do feel like fighting, know that there's another wounded one off to the right that has like half health or something, and it'll join in on the fun when you start fighting the first one. To make the fight a whole lot easier though, you can abuse the fact that it can't fit through this front gate. So I'm just gonna pull it over here. Makes this a whole lot more manageable. Pretty much a normal Lion Guardian fight except for that Frost Breath that you just saw. Wait for that to dissipate and then go in. As long as the other lion's not over here, I can just fight him normally, I suppose, so I'll do that and just keep an eye out. So I don't think they're too bad. That's not the direction I wanted to be knocked. Oof, that was close. Alright, there we go. Somber Smithing Stone 7 plus the usual rewards for killing one of these guys. And down they go. Same thing from that one, and then go in the corner where he was sitting. Get Golden Rune 10. And they don't respawn after you kill them, so feel free to rest at the Grace once they're gone if you want. Or after you kill one of them, you can even rest at the Grace. We'll go inside here, take a step, and then roll back outside to trigger the slime ambush. Grab the butterfly and head up the ladder. A corpse on the ledge with some fan daggers, and then this section is kind of obnoxious. So as you go down this walkway, there's a castle guard throwing fire pots up on this roof to our left. If you have a ranged option, kill him now. Otherwise, just know that he'll keep throwing fire pots at you while you deal with the next section, and if you stand close to the walls, the explosion will hurt you through the wall. Once you get onto this wooden platform over here that wraps around the tower, another like spectral castle guard will with a shield and spear will spawn. So just lure him back to where we're standing right now and take him out there, and then there will be an item behind him which we'll grab, and that'll put us in line of sight of a ballista that's over there. These are just like the ones in Stormvale Castle, in that they shoot a very powerful volley of arrows and then they explode on impact, which can also hit you through the wall if you're standing right up against it, so be careful of that. So let's do that. This guy's gonna spawn, so I'd lure him back there, but that's fine. Fire pot guy's up there. Grab this golden rune. He saw me quicker than I anticipated. Rush this guy. Kill him and then duck behind cover because there's another ballista guy there. And if you hide behind this wall, usually fire pot guy will start to make his way down to try to like melee you. It's a little hit or miss, but I'm gonna sit here for a second and see if he gives up on me if I just crouch here for a second. I hate that thing so much, dude. Yeah, here he comes. I don't know if it just takes a certain amount of them missing you before they decide that they can't reach you, because ballista guy stopped shooting at me as well. Surprise. Take him out. Grab the smithing stone 6 and then go down the ladder. Grab the sorcerer painting and unlock this door for a shortcut, which we don't really need for a shortcut since we cleared that section of the roof just now. But this takes us close to the original courtyard with the Lion Guardian. It's really quick to get back to, so if you're struggling on heals right now, feel free to warp back to the Grace by the main gate and restock. If you aren't sitting at like 1 HP though, before you do that, you want to come back up here and then get a shot on this bird. Kill it if possible. And grab the Stormhawk axe he was guarding. And there's some wolves down here. So we're gonna just roll down over here to get below, or to get to the area below. And wrap around this building. Get some freezing grease. Now there are a couple of different ways to plan your next move depending on how much of a suicidal maniac you want to be. The building north of here, over this way, past the wolves, leads to one more encounter with 3 castle guards and a banished knight. You can run past them pretty easily and get a grace directly behind them, but while you can activate the grace with enemies nearby, you can't rest, so you'll probably die. Good news is your runes should be right next to you, but you will lose a rune arc if your great rune was active. If you are not risking a rune arc, then I would just do that. Just run through there, past everyone, get the grace. If you don't want to risk it though, then you can just hop down over this way, go back to the main gate to get the grace over there. Either way, you can also go under this platform here for Smithing Stone 5. And you could try your luck with the Beast Repellent Torch to get past these wolves as well. That hasn't really been working so great for me today though, so... Alright, so there's going to be a crossbow guy up ahead, and then 2 normal guys will spawn here with melee. So we'll try to take them out, avoiding the crossbow guy, and then run up here out of his line of sight, and a couple more will spawn. There you are. Grab that golden rune 10. And then we'll go up here, and as we get to the top of the staircase, a Banished Knight will spawn. So we'll just fight him where the crossbow guy can't see us. Unfortunate. Take him out, and in here for the grace. I just forgot an item out there too. Some Thaw Frost boluses. Now we can go up here. And then over to the right there should be a corpse here. Smithing Stone 5. Golden Rune 9. Across the bridge over here, there are going to be a couple wolves and a Banished Knight. This time with a halberd. Again, Beast Repellent Torch, you can just walk right past them. I suppose I'll give it a try this time. I don't have to be a Beast Repellent Torch hater forever. But this lets us open the fight with a backstab, otherwise the wolves will notice us first. And then the knights will also notice us. I didn't know I would do the Ash of War on the torch, that's funny. I didn't know you could do that. Alright, he's dead. Take out the wolves because they were looking at me funny. Get repelled, beast. And stone sword key here. And then warp back to the church if you can. Wolf is still unhappy with me. There we go. Church of the Eclipse. And check the altar for the Eclipse Shodel. That's going to be another legendary armament for our collection. And out here, straight ahead, will lead us to the boss. But first, let's go over here to the right and clear the ramparts. As you approach this ladder, a couple of crossbowmen are going to start shooting. Just keep running and pretend they don't exist. Kill that guy, and then if you want, if you crouch up here, eventually that guy will leave you alone. You can open your inventory and craft some throwing pots or something to take him out from range if you need. You have no other options. Otherwise, down the ladder, kill the rats. And then out here to the right. Rune Arc. I thought I missed something in here. Some smithing stone 7s. And now for a problem. So over here there's a banished knight who is dual wielding swords, and this guy is just like the worst variant of them by far. You can jump down to him from here, but if you hit him from here with any ranged attack, he'll just teleport right up to this rooftop where there's a lot more space to fight. You can also fall down the ladder chute to the room where the rats were, and he'll follow you down there, and then you can reach the platform that the Rune Arc was just on for even more room to fight. So essentially this method just gives you a ton of room to keep falling back for more space. Kinda seems like overkill unless you fought this guy before, in which case you'll know that it's honestly still not enough space. He's extremely aggressive, has the most excessive combos I've ever seen. Whenever you think it's safe to attack, you should probably just wait for him to do like 3 more flips, and then maybe you can consider countering. See, I didn't wait for all the flips. Rookie mistake. He's not too difficult to stagger, but like, if you let him start attacking you... My god. Oh, he's gonna heal. Oh, you suck, dude. Nice. We love that. I'm just gonna fight him down here. I'll come to you, bastard. Oh, you heard me. Alright, alright. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. The 180 front flip is actually insane. That's... It's impossible, but kind of a sick move, I can't lie. Unfortunately, I need you to never do it again. Grab the Cerulean Amber Medallion +1 from him. Or the area he was guarding, I guess. Then we will climb onto this walkway and just jump off in this opening over here. And over here, got a... Careful now. Somber Smithing Stone 8, and you can warp back to the Church of the Eclipse. And you can go out the same exit we just did, but this time we will go straight into that next building. Now there's going to be an Albinaric guy, a couple of them actually hiding under this staircase, but up top you see these ones hanging. I can't remember, I'm just going to test this out. I guess he just doesn't react. Alright, that works for me. I was gonna say, I can't remember if they'll like fall down if you hit them or not, but if you kill them before you give them a chance to scream, then you can avoid more knights spawning in here. So one of them will scream and summon a couple of those like regular castle guards, well, some like heavy ones that have a great axe, and then the other one will summon a few more banished knights, one of which I believe has the double sword. So you really don't want to give these guys a chance to sing their song, if you know what I mean. I do think, don't quote me on this, but I do think if you hit them with melee and they like see you, then, and you don't kill them in one shot, I think they will start screaming still, so that does suck. Now over here we have a really stupid shortcut. Grab that, and then you can take this back up. So, I mean, you can get to this from Church of the Eclipse would be the closest gray still. It's right there in that building. But you're going to aggro all those random spectral knights out there, plus the banished knight. And he can teleport, so he can chase you. Or if you want to run through this way, then... and you don't kill those guys that are hanging from the ceiling, they'll scream and spawn in all the other spectral knights who can also teleport towards you. So like either way you gotta run past some enemies. It just, I don't know, it just seems stupid. Anyway, boss time, Commander Nile. So Nile himself isn't super dangerous in phase 1, but he summons 2 spectral banished knights, one with the shield, and one of course that we recently met for the first time, a dual wielding sword version who, as you know, is a big problem. Nile's super slow, and balancing him and the knights isn't very hard. You're really just balancing the 2 knights. Now before we go in, I'd like to point out an item that you might have never seen or used before and remind you of something we did right after we killed Morgott in Leyndell. I brought up that long forgotten White Mask Vari questline. We went to Mogwin's palace and we got the map fragment which allowed us to tell Gideon about the place, and he rewarded us with the Fevers Cookbook 3. If none of that sounds familiar and you didn't do any of that, I would definitely consider going back to get that cookbook. It isn't very difficult at all. It'll take like 5 minutes. But if you do have that cookbook, you can use it to craft something called a Bewitching Branch, which is kind of expensive. In fact, the materials for it, both of which just say exceedingly rare to find, but that's for good reason. These are essentially a needle that you poke an enemy with and they will be charmed. This isn't like the crystal darts that frenzy certain enemies into just attacking anything in sight. Charmed enemies are actually on your side. If you're not seeing where I'm going with this, we can use them to charm the knights and make the boss fight itself, basically. Now that Fevers Cookbook is how you craft them, which is already easy to miss, but the Bewitching Branch itself is kind of an obscure item to find in its own right. There are only 3 other ways to get them. You can get 5 if you chose them as your keepsake and character creation. There are 3 very well hidden ones down the cliff north of the Church of Pilgrimage in Weeping Peninsula, and there are 5 for purchase from the nomadic merchant in northern Liurnia. That's it in the entire game. Only 8 of them across 2 locations if you didn't choose them as a keepsake. I amended the Weeping Peninsula section of the guide to grab those 3 by the church after writing this section, because at the time I first went through Weeping Peninsula, I had no idea they were there back then. That cliff literally goes straight down about 500 feet into the ocean, so I didn't really think to look closely. That means you probably have 3 of them on you, but I made sure to run through the process of grabbing the cookbook before we got here just in case, because they make this fight a million times easier, and if you don't get it on your first try, you'll want to craft more, right? Last thing about item crafting before we start, the knights are immune to status effects, but they work pretty well on Nile. Anything but Madness and Deathblight, of course. Since he's so slow at the beginning of the fight, it's super easy to land throwing pots or anything really on him to inflict whatever status you want, not to mention the fact that he'll also be preoccupied with the Charmed Knight. So without further ado, we're going to go through the fog, run up to the dual-wielding knight, and poke him with the branch. Now, I find it easiest to start with the dual-wielding knight, but Nile's actually kind of good at killing them, so you might find that it's easier to start with the shield knight, because he'll survive a little bit longer, which gives you more time to charm the other knight if you need to, but it's really up to personal preference, so let's get to it. Actually, let me equip those before I forget. And this is what that run back looks like that I was just talking about. Needless to say, attempt number 1 didn't go so well for me. Your mileage is kind of going to vary with this strat, not with the charming the knights, that works just fine, but sometimes you can get lucky and the knights will like actually do some significant damage to the boss. I'm going to try this other one first this time. And we're only really charming them so that we don't have to fight them, but them hurting the boss is a nice side benefit. See if I can get this one. I did not. I'm gonna try again. Got him. My stubbornness knows no bounds. Hop off for me, king. Where'd he even go? Oh. Also, if you get the boss... No, actually, where are you going, dude? Oh, he wants to fight the knight outside. Yeah, if you get the boss low, though, and go send him into phase 2 just organically through doing damage, then the knights will just despawn anyway. Otherwise, he'll just go into phase 2 automatically once the knights die. Oh, we got a stagger. Beautiful. I'm gonna try something stupid. I'm gonna pop a rune arc and see if I can poison him. Watch out for all that lightning that splashes when he does that stomp. If you're really close to, or sorry, if you're not really close to him, you can jump over all the lightning. I rolled through it just because if his leg hits you, it does a ton of damage. But I was definitely far enough away that his leg was not going to hit me there. And we got the poison to proc. Like I said, not so great when it comes to status effect defense. Watch out for that, and all the follow-up tornadoes and stuff, because pretty soon here we're going to get frostbite procced on us, and that's not going to be good. And if you got to pick a direction to roll, go left, because he holds his halberd in his left hand, so that's the safer direction to just like get away from it. And then you can roll into his leg, which does the most damage. That's the biggest threat. Unfortunate frostbite proc. Thought we were getting along so well too. He's so slow, I can actually like weave in some light attacks in between. Ow. Which I don't think he appreciates very much, but I'll do it anyway. So yeah, that's Commander Nile. Kind of a tank. Can be kind of a problem. He doesn't have too many attacks, but as you saw, they all hurt a ton. And not every weapon is probably going to be able to like weave those light attack combos in like I was between his attacks. So that one is definitely a fight where you really just have to find the windows that work for your playstyle. Like I said earlier too, he has like a ton, maybe I didn't say this and just thought it, I can't remember, but he has a ton of poise, so trying to go for a stagger is going to be really tough unless you have time to land some charged heavies and have a pretty hard hitting weapon. If you're a strength build, I would definitely say keep trying to lean into staggering him at least once in the fight. But if you're dexterity like myself, going for jumping attacks and stuff to try to do that is a bit more risky because you're going to burn through stamina really fast and you're going to be kind of in a compromised position for when he lets off any of those super hard hitting attacks, like his lightning stomp for instance you saw. It just does a ridiculous amount of damage. But anyways, once he's dead, we will run out here, go up the elevator, and loot this item here for the Haligtree Secret Medallion left, which is the counterpart to the Haligtree Secret Medallion right, believe it or not, that we got from Albus back in the village of the Albinarics ages ago now, at like the beginning of Liurnia. And with that, that's the end of Mountaintops of the Giants for now. We're going to save the Fire Giant until we've done nearly everything else in the game, because the whole Forge of the Giants sequence that comes right after that is basically the beginning of the end of the game. But next up is Consecrated Snowfields, which we can now reach with the second half of the Haligtree Secret Medallion. So I will see you in the next video for that. Have a good one.